Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Best in Slot here with your updates and news for Planet Zoo. Whilst nothing has actually happened per se in the last few days, there has been a flurry of news articles from people who got an early showing of the game, and these have emerged online and provided us with not only more information as to how the game itself will function, but an expanding list of animals that we're going to focus on. We're going to populate our zoos with so many animals. Remember to hit the like button if you find this video helpful at all, and let's get started. So let's focus on the good stuff first, the animals themselves. By picking apart about 500 different articles from around the world and putting Google Translate through its paces, as well as hunting down bilingual people to help with said translations, we've managed to build a fairly extensive species list for the game so far. Now, in our video the other day, we mentioned a list of 11. Let's recap those 11 super quickly. So far, we have seen African elephant, grey wolf, grizzly bear, hippopotamus, plains zebra, reticulated giraffe, ring-tailed lemur, West African lion, western chimpanzee, Indian peafowl, and Brazilian wandering spider. Now, the other day I mentioned spider. We know specifically it was a Brazilian wandering spider. We know specifically an Indian peafowl, a western chimpanzee, stuff like that. But those were the general 11 animals we'd already mentioned. Since then, however, 8 more animals have been found, bringing our total number up to 19. Though I will say 1 or 2 of these are a tiny little bit speculative. The next 3 are possible finds from the cover art for Planet Zoo, which is really cool, by the way. You should definitely check out the full version on your own time. You can get like a 4K version, hiding all the way at the back. Now, I'm going to bring up a little enhance. We're doing our CSI thing here. The current idea is that A represents a Gemsbok, B represents either a Springbok or a Thompson's Gazelle, with most people leaning towards the former, and C represents a wildebeest, probably a black wildebeest specifically, given the white tails that these have elsewhere in the image. I told you, a little bit speculative. Along with those 3, articles have also mentioned camels, tigers, a variety of birds, which implies we'll get more than the peafowl, and snakes. Snakes! We also believe there's at least 1 more type of antelope that's going to be present in the game. But also snakes. Let's just focus on the snakes because that's really exciting. All of that brings the total animal list up to 19 so far out of 50 plus. Articles have said there are multiple snakes, multiple spiders, multiple birds, etc. So we can assume 2 to 3 of all of these at least, and yes, I do believe the smaller terrarium-based creatures like your spiders, like your snakes, like your reptiles. I believe an article has mentioned an undisclosed so far reptile. These will count towards the overarching species limit, in my opinion. Before we move off the animals, I want to address something really quickly. This has been blowing up a little bit. There was a brief mention of orcas, i.e. killer whales, in a reputable Spanish language site's article on the game. That mention, however, has since been taken down. It's been scrubbed from the article, and neither the trailer or any other article, I've read about 20 articles on this game, no other article mentions aquatic creatures, like proper full-on aquatic creatures, in the slightest. So I wouldn't rule it out, but I think for now, just to avoid overhyping basically, it's safer to assume that aquatic animals are more likely to come via post-release DLC in order to avoid disappointment. And further to that, orcas themselves would be a little bit of a I know it's just a video game, but orcas would be a little bit of a controversial inclusion in the wake of films like Blackfish. One last thing. This is something I found personally earlier today, and this is super speculative, so bear with me. There is a bronze statue in the big large piece of cover art for the game, which very clearly depicts a dodo. I'm going to show you it right now. I'm not for a second going to suggest that dodos are making it into the game, but we know that Planet Zoo has a conservation angle, and the fact that dodos aren't that long extinct, the last one died in 1662, means it isn't outside the realm of possibility that we get a DLC pack or something down the line dedicated to reviving animals wiped out by man recently. Dodos, mammoths, Tasmanian tigers, and what have you. This is a big thing in science at the moment. We hear all the time about scientists trying to bring back mammoths. It's a big thing, dodos, everything like that. If man... The idea behind evolution, right? Evolution, you've been chosen by evolution for extinction, as Malcolm will say. But if you're not chosen by evolution for extinction, but you're chosen by man for extinction, then conservation definitely should come into that, and bringing back species that were previously thought to be extinct is a big focus of conservation these days, and it will be a bigger one going forward to kind of repair the damage done by humanity to the natural world. Now, these bronze statues that I've just shown you, the dodo and what I believe is meant to be a lion next to it, it's quite hard to see, but I think it's a lion. They aren't just on the cover art, they aren't just designs for the cover art to make the cover art look a little bit more fancy. There is one in-game. There's a hippo one in-game, as you can see on the in-game screenshot. Again, this is all massively speculative, but it's just worth keeping an eye on in my opinion. A lot of the articles go to lengths to mention that these are the most realistic animals ever put to a video game, and I really believe that in terms of the animations and stuff like that. There's one in particular that mentions how all the walk cycles of the animals will never look the same every single time because there's little triggers that go off to make the ear flick or the tail swish and stuff like that. So there's all these little the claws to reticulate. There's all these little things going on which should give the animals a lot of life and a lot of individuality constantly. They should never just look like they're doing the same canned animation all the time, which was a little bit of a problem in some of the other games. But yeah, I really believe that these could be the best animals we've ever seen. Frontier's animation and modelling teams are absolutely outstanding. They just are. Jurassic World Evolution, for example, really never had problems with the quality of animation, beyond some slightly odd stretching during the kill animations. But the problem was really a lack of variety more than anything else. There was loads of great animations, but there wasn't enough of them. That was the issue, really. There's not really many other modern zoo games at all, so I would expect these to be simply the best video game animals ever made. No pressure, Frontier, no pressure at all. One final note on the animals. One of the articles mentions that your spiders, as we know so far there is Brazilian wandering spiders, I assume there's at least a couple more, potentially. Maybe scorpions, maybe just other arachnids, maybe just other creepy crawlies, if that's what you want to call them. They can actually break out of their exhibits. They will be able to break out and wreak absolute havoc. Now that's exciting for two reasons. Number one is it means these exhibits are going to be real exhibits. They're not going to be just little sort of decorations you put down that happen to have animals in them. That's kind of what we had back in Zoo Tycoon 2 with some of the mods. You'd put down a glass case, it would have animals in it, but the spider wasn't real. The spider was part of the decoration. It doesn't seem like that's going to be the case because the spiders can break out. The second reason that's exciting is because I really want to test the animal limits of this game. I want to breed thousands of spiders and just unleash them simultaneously upon my... Close down the parks and no one's allowed to leave, block it with a cave or block it with like a big rock wall, and then just release thousands upon thousands of spiders upon my unexpecting public. Do like a whole eight-legged freaks kind of scenario. Maybe that's just me. Now, with all the animal nonsense out of the way, pish posh, let's talk about some of the other features that have been mentioned in articles published recently. This section is going to be a little bit more bullet pointy. It doesn't really seem like anyone's had enough hands-on time with the game or really enough of a preview to see the depth of things like management mechanics and stuff like that. We really don't know anything about staff management and cleaning and pricing and everything like that. There was an article that said that the management in this game is very granular if you choose it to be. Basically, you can take quite a hands-off approach and still get through the game, as the game will get harder as you go through. But if you wanted to get into the nitty-gritty and really micromanage things, you should be able to do that as well. I also believe it was confirmed in the stream. Frontier did like a little live stream the other day, Frontier Extra I believe it's called. I think they mentioned, I don't want to say this guaranteed, but I think they mentioned you won't be manually doing any of these tasks. It is a management game, so it's not like Zoo Tycoon 2 where you're going to go in and manually clean your animals or clean up poop or feed them and stuff like that. You will have to assign people to do that. We don't know whether there's a guest camera yet, but given there's a guest camera in Planet Coaster, I think that's a pretty safe assumption. Hopefully that'll be really cool. I think this is the kind of game that needs a guest camera. But, well, I thought Jurassic World Evolution was as well, but I don't think you're going to be getting down and dirty yourself. Not down and dirty. I don't think you're going to be getting hands-on with the animals yourself, so just worth keeping that in mind. But I don't know for sure. So yeah, just some brief stuff. Hopefully we'll find out some more information on management later in the year. We do know that the trains that circulate the park, stuff like Evolution's monorails for example, will be customizable in some way. I think a lot of Planet Zoo is going to be customizable in colour at least. Another article did mention customizing colours on the smaller exhibits, so I think there's going to be a lot of that in the game, a lot of dyeing and changing colours and stuff to really give us unique parks. The game will have a full-blown story mode, as we know, taking you around the world to many different locales that make it harder to deal with your animals, you know, lions in the Arctic, stuff like that. But it'll also be shipping with a sandbox mode, if you want to build the zoo of your dreams without those pesky monetary limitations. Whether that mode will rely on unlocks from the main game, as it does in Jurassic World Evolution, we'll have to wait and see. Animal management really is a big focus in Planet Zoo. We've mentioned how the animals will seek out the relative warmth of caves when the weather turns on them, which is already, in my opinion, a really cool, pretty impressive mechanic. But you'll also be able to implement cooling pads and heaters into those caves as need be. I don't know how deep the staff management of Planet Zoo will be, but it's safe to say that exhibit management and the care of your animals is going to be an impressively deep system. It really does seem like the absolute top priority in the whole game, along with that kind of building and creativity aspect. Even natural barriers, the kind you see at a zoo where, say, a moat or a cliff wall will block an animal in, seem to be possible based on some of the screenshots. I'm going to bring up an image right now. I'm hesitant to say this is confirmed or anything, as we're pretty unsure how the exhibit mechanics will work in this game. For example, is it like Parkosaurus, where each exhibit is a very defined thing with a defined size, and it's got particular environments and stuff like that? Or is it going to be more open, where the animals will kind of search in a radius around them to see if they're in a suitable area? Again, kind of like Jurassic World Evolution. We're going to have to wait and see to find out those little details as well. And I think that is about it from me, folks. I'm expecting some more information soon. Another YouTuber did briefly reveal, I think maybe not on purpose, or that they shouldn't have or something. Another YouTuber did briefly reveal that they'll be doing something concerning the game within a few weeks, so it seems something is going on, and maybe there will be more information to dissect soon enough. Until then, we're waiting for the reveal of the animal newsletters, which should detail new species once a week, something like that. That's what we're hoping for. And well, if you want to discuss Planet Zoo and stay on top of the news for the game, make sure to subscribe down below, because we're going to be doing a buttload of it, which is an official metric measurement. And also check out the Planet Zoo Discord server, which I'll link down below. There are two of them. There's this whole thing going on, which I'm not going to get into. I have chosen one Discord server that I personally quite like and that I'm active on, so if you want to be on the one that I'm active on, follow the one down below. There is another one if you want to go from that one that's more affiliated with the subreddit, so it's up to you guys. You could always join both, but I would, you know, you want to hang out with me, right? So come on to this one. Anyways, let's move on. Thanks for joining me as always. Throw me a like if you found this video informative and definitely not overly speculative about dodos. And I'll see you lovely folks next time with whatever piece of news I can get my grubby hands on. Cheers, much love as always. Bye-bye. Hey folks, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video or you want to help support me a little bit more, you can do so at patreon.com/bestinslot. There's a link in the description down below. Every little really does help in times like these, but it's not at all expected, and by just watching the video you've already helped me out massively, and it makes you a pretty cool person, so well done you. Thanks for joining me either way, I'll see you next time.